community of people that were like me. I remember as a kid, I was a big baseball fan. I was a big fan of the Chicago White Sox, and nobody ever took me to a game, and I just listened on the radio, which is so unfathomable that I would spend like 4 hours a day sitting in my room listening to the radio, and then I finally went to a game, and I saw that it was like drunk fat guys that just seemed like the exact kind of people I didn't want to be around, and I felt such a sense of loss. I thought, these will be my people, and I'll go here all the time, and I had such a horrible time. And I read your thing about going to see The Searchers many years ago and yelling at the audience for laughing at the film. I've had that experience so many times. How can these people not see? And but you sort of want to see the movie with it. You want to see that with versions of yourself who are appreciating it on the same level, and yet you wind up I'll just watch it alone. I don't want to stick with these Philistines that are doing it.
Yeah. Well, this is one of the paradoxes that I think draws me closest to your work, is that you seem fascinated by this paradox of the totally private appreciation of a completely public art form. Things that are meant to be mass entertainment or part of the stratum of advertising or sports or television, that your characters have developed a sense again and again that they're the only ones who adequately and honestly appreciate these items. And so they're forced into private relationships with public artifacts.
I have no response to that. Yeah, I mean, that's, I tend to focus much more on sort of the personal minutiae in my room, and I don't know if you ever read a prose poet named Russell Edson, who was sort of a guy, I think he wrote in the late 60s, early 70s, and he just wrote these kind of little prose poems about the relationship between like a dish and a knife, and they always wind up fighting. He's actually the son of a cartoonist, Gus Edson, who drew Gandhi in the 50s, and it's all about like chairs and tables that fight with each other, and it's always this hideous father figure of a table that imposes its will on the poor chair, and he's playing out these little kind of family dramas using inanimate objects, and that's the kind of thing I relate to much more.
I'll make one more general remark, and you can have as much or as little to say about it as you like, and then I'm going to go to some extremely specific questions. Along the lines of have you read, I wondered if you were a fan of Stephen Milhouse's novels.
Those have been recommended to me so many times, and I've never read them.
You did?
Yeah.
He's as attentive to the nature of childhood friendship, the bizarre intensity of childhood friendship, where your best friend is also a kind of enemy because they know too much about you. That's what his first two novels center on, and they're very close to your work in some ways.
Perhaps I can steal some ideas.
I'm sure you can. I think they're.
Yeah, they're somewhat obscure.
Yeah, they're somewhat obscure.
They never leaked out at me at the bookstore.
He won
his job.
A Pulitzer Prize for a much later book, but it came so long after those early novels that I think it managed to drag them all back into prominence anyway. But I wanted to talk to you about childhood and friendship, because it seems to me this question of the lost utopia, the bewildering utopia of childhood friendship and the possibilities is such an intense subject, or such a recurring subject. Do you find that you make friendships at the same intensity that you used to?
No, not at all. Do you?
No. Do you have any continuity with childhood friends?
My childhood best friend, maybe. He was here. I saw him earlier, and I looked up and I thought, who's this horrible-looking old man? He thought the same thing about me. Is it Will Eisner signing? Oh, no.
The work, of course, that so many people think of first on that score is Ghost World.